Welcome back to another episode of The Loco Fit Show, where we redefine what healthy means to you. I'm your host, Lauren Conlon, and this week I'm joined by Coach Jill.
Hi.
What a delayed hi.
I was thinking of my intro. I was going to say cowabunga.
Oh, okay. Well, hi suffices.
Moving on.
Moving on, we're going to talk about all about great intros. No, we're actually going to talk about what not to do for a summer body. Body is bodying. And we all want to look a certain way and feel a certain way for summer. And I get that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like most places, it's hot here, year round. Mm-hmm. But for most people, if you're not living in Florida, you will, be experiencing hotter temperatures, getting used to that, wearing less clothes. And there's just certain things that are uncomfortable about, if you do want to change your body comp, say you've been in a, a building phase, or maybe you just have kind of been maintaining, or maybe you were gaining kind of over the past several months. I think there's two camps. I think there's one camp that's always like, it's summer, you gotta diet. And then I think the other camp is like super anti-dieting for summer. You know what I mean? Because it's like, no, you don't need to.
Or you don't need to change anything for summer just because it's summer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you don't.
And either one is valid.
Super valid. However, it's also valid to be like, hey, it's summer and it's hot and I have goals and I want to work on them. Yeah. So I think there's definitely a time and place for all of that. I have a lot of clients who are kickstarting their summer cuts right now. Mm-hmm. And we kind of time it up that way. And there's something to be said about yo-yo dieting, and then there's something to be said about like cyclically dieting and planning diet phases at the right times of the year. Like it makes sense to time a diet during, spring and summer. Yeah. Kind of just makes sense. But I think there's a lot that can go wrong with this, because now, at the time of recording this, and also, the week that this is coming out, it's going to be one of those things where it's like, oh shit, summer is like really close. So that's really what we want to touch on today, because summer is getting close and people are thinking like, okay, well now I need to be like super aggressive because
I have this trip coming up in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Or,
oh my God.
Or like, I actually have all these outings. Yeah.
Coach's worst nightmare. Oh, hey, and that's actually why I added it to our update, because people would, now I have some clients who will tell me like months ahead of time, hey, just giving you my schedule, and they'll list out like the next quarter of like events. And I'm like, of course you're sending me all these. And then other people, it'll be like the week of. I'm like, by the way, I'm leaving tomorrow. Whoa. Yeah. We could have had some plans, around this. So I added it to the update for that reason. Because I'm like, no, you're going to tell me beforehand.
No,
I'm going to know when you're leaving, because it does help. And I think there is a lot that can be done in a short period of time, but we also have to be realistic with that, right? So first and foremost, even though summer is quickly approaching, do not starve yourself. That sounds obvious, but even though it sounds obvious, how many times have we all done some stupid shit? Yeah. We're like, all right, we got 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Go. Especially when it comes to like those last minute timelines. Like you think it's a good idea to, I'm just going to be like super aggressive and it's not going to be that long. But it really is not going to be like the best way to set you up for a successful fat loss phase. Mm-hmm.
And you can be aggressive, right? There are definitely times where we'll do aggressive mini cuts with people, right? Where we'll say, hey, we're
not here for very long, in and out.
We're going to do this. And we have a timeline of 6 weeks, right? We're going to be, more aggressive with this. And the client agrees to that up front. They understand what that means. They're okay with it. There's also something to be said. Some people will employ more of this. We actually started doing some research like a long time ago with Campbell. And then John Gorman, he's a coach, talks about like rapid fat loss kind of cycles, right? Well, they'll do 2 aggressive weeks, 1 kind of maintenance week.
Yeah, I think we're still waiting to be published for the rapid fat loss.
Is it? Yeah, I don't think it came out.
I want to say I sent in a graphic for it, which was gonna be part of it, but we haven't been published yet. Yeah, so I'm like, damn.
All that stuff.
We're still waiting.
So long. Oh my God. Like
I'll just sit here twiddling my thumbs.
Yeah. As we were just talking earlier about academia being so quick. The whole process of just academic stuff is terribly slow. But yeah, so there's, going to be some research out on that. But just in general, some people will use this more aggressive kind of tactic, right? And I think that there is, again, something to be said about that. But the idea of that is very like the client knows there is a lot of informed consent around what that is. There's parameters. This is a client who's already been very dialed in with whatever they're doing, different than, okay, I'm going on this trip in a few weeks. Let me just like not really eat and let me like skip meals and let me, that's usually going to lead to not eating enough protein. That's going to lead to under eating during the week. Probably overeating.
Disorganized, like no structure.
Yeah. No good plan.
And that kind of like willy-nilly type of approach, you're going like exactly into a trip where you likely don't want to follow any sort of plan, maybe,
Yes.
most of the time.
That is one of the hardest parts about prepping for trips really aggressively. Mm-hmm. And that's where that conversation kind of comes into play also, right? Hey, I'm cool if you're on board to do this. But guess what? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When we, afterwards, we might experience this. And that's where that expectation setting is really important, because if someone knows what they're getting into and then they agree to it, that's different.
Yeah.
But a lot of times people don't know about that. And even if you had gone into the trip like without making any changes, you'd probably still see like a weight spike and some water retention. But if you've crash dieted and like starved yourself for 3 or 4 weeks,
that's going to be way more significant.
And then you're going to feel really shitty on your trip, you know what I mean? Which is like not ideal.
We didn't want that to begin with.
No, especially if people are going on, more traditional summer trips. Mm-hmm. Most people are going to be in, hot weather, bikinis, all of that. And then, okay, so now, you've dieted and you feel good your first day, but then you get there and then your body just like soaks everything in, and then you're like bloated and not feeling great. Like not ideal in really any scenario. And, when you are starting to make these plans for, summer dieting, even if you want to be aggressive, you still have to figure out, again, and this goes back to that expectation, how can I actually fit this into my day-to-day? How do I fit this into my routine? And instead of just saying like having this like rose-colored view of like, oh, I'll be able to get all of this done. Yeah. Okay, you're saying that on a Saturday afternoon when, everything's kind of just chill and easy to go, good to go.
Let's wait until Monday where, maybe shit hits the fan at work, or you have a lot of stuff come up midweek. Yeah.
Okay, so is your 2-a-day training plan going to work then? It might. It honestly might.
Or like all 7 days of cardio going to work out?
Like for some people's schedule, they're like, yeah, absolutely. I can do an hour cardio day and lift weights. Okay, great. That's awesome. A lot of our clients can't do that, and there's certain days that they can, like maybe again on like the weekends. Hey, I don't have anything coming up for the next month on the weekends until my trip. All right, let's utilize the weekends to do like cardio and a training session. And then during the week though, let's plan what is actually like realistic for you to do. But I think a lot of people, they make those plans when they're
feeling really good. Or like you might be super motivated and you're just like super hyped up and like, oh yeah, I have these goals. I'm going to start this on Monday, or I'm going to start this tomorrow, and I'll do X, Y, and Z. I'll train 6 days a week. I'll do cardio every single day. I'll wake up at 5 a.m. and I'll get my morning session in, and I'll have 2-a-days if I need to. And then Monday comes around and you're like, oh, actually, I'd rather sleep in. Or, oh, actually, I actually have such a long day of work. Like, I don't feel like going to the gym after at 5, 6 p.m., right? So we have to be realistic with where are you at and what's going to be easy to add in initially into what your lifestyle is right now.
Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean that we can't change it, right? Mm-hmm. So when people hear stuff like that, they're like, yeah, but so-and-so does all of this, right? You can also do all of this, but they've probably built up to that.
Yeah.
So even think about someone who's in like a contest prep as an example, right? A lot of people will use that as their like kind of proxy, because they're seeing, okay, I see an extreme physique result and I also see an extreme like plan. Okay, I want to do that, which just for anybody listening who has ever listened to the podcast, maybe this is your first podcast that you're listening to. You don't want to look like a physique competitor unless you're a physique competitor. Mm-hmm. I promise. It's not a good look in person.
Because then you'll have to feel like a physique competitor, and they'll tell you that they don't feel very good.
But even like how you look, like it just doesn't look good when you're like actually
very small.
Yeah, it's just small. Now, if you're peaked on stage, like, you know what I mean? But like the weeks leading up to it, it's a little sketch.
A little rocky.
Yeah, a little rocky.
Things hurt.
Hard to sit down.
Exactly. My client who just competed a couple weeks ago said very similar. It's just like, I don't feel good being this small, it just icky,
Yeah. Like I feel like a month out, you're like, okay, I'm lean. Again, a month, granted, you're on a normal timeline of still losing those last few pounds. You're like, okay, I'm lean and this is probably leaner than my normal, but like, I like this, but then when you get like, there's everybody has a threshold. Every single client has a threshold. I have a threshold. You have a threshold, and you get there and then you just go, ugh, I just look like a wet rag. kind of constantly. And like
Yeah.
certain body parts might look good, you know what I mean? Or like, okay, I just trained shoulders and I had 1,000 milligrams of sodium and I had some carb drink, and okay, yeah, that looks good. But like as a whole, it's just not as great. But let's just say, even if you're using that as a proxy, right? Those people have worked up to that. Like most people, hopefully, are asterisk, hopefully, are not doing, you know, cardio every single day to start prep. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They're not being as aggressive on their diet plan from the beginning. You know, all of those things have built up. So even if we're going to use probably one of the most extreme examples as this example, that's something that is built over time.
Yeah.
So
you don't go from 0 to 100 in any instance. No,
anybody who does that, that's a terrible plan. So if your coach is doing that, fire them and call us. We have a better approach than that. I mean, to be fair, there still are people who are doing that, which is not good. You know, people give out this plan, hey, start your prep 16 weeks out and here's your plan. And it's like literally 1,100 calories and an hour of cardio.
And like 2 almonds a day. And it's like
sick. Good luck with your hair. It's going to be gone along with everything.
Along with your will to live.
Yeah, everything else will be gone too, but your hair also. But yeah, like a lot of times and we're so guilty of doing this on trips too. Like how many times have you gone on a trip where you're like, oh, you know, it's day 3 of the trip and like you're feeling pretty good, and then you're like, you have all these ideas of like who you're gonna be when you get home, you know, and like and then you just get home and you're like, oh fuck, I gotta do like the laundry and I have these other things that I have to get done. So
like you get smacked in the face with reality,
and that's not to be like a Debbie Downer. That's not to say that you can't do a lot of things, but that's where it takes time to build all of those habits in. So if you're trying to get ready for summer, and even if you want to be aggressive, like we support that as long as you understand what you're getting into. Just know that you need to build that around a realistic routine to your life. Yeah. Saying you want to go to the gym for 2 hours a day and you only have 1 hour, you got to work with your 1 hour.
Yeah. I think it's also worth mentioning too, like going back to what, like, oh, I have all these ideas of like who I want to be. You have to make sure that like also your actions are lining up with those like idealized, like that version of yourself. Because you could say, oh, I want to be this person. I want to live this lifestyle. I want to do all these things when I get home. But that doesn't matter if we're not doing the things that line up to kind of bridge that gap.
Absolutely. And I would say that that's such a huge point. And that's why so many people are actually really unhappy with themselves, because they say they want one thing and then they're not taking the action to do that. Money is a perfect example, right? Oh, I want to be rich. Okay. Are you doing the actions that it takes to actually be someone who is very
financially
wealthy?
Yeah.
Right. And of course, wealthy means different things to different people. So that has to be defined. But oftentimes it's just like a elusive thing where people are like, I want to make $1 million a year or whatever it might be. Right. Okay. Well, are you taking the actions to make $1 million a year? Are you working after work? Are you, prioritizing your schedule? Are you skipping?
Are you following
events?
a budget? Yeah.
Yeah. Are you following a budget? Are you saying no to things
X,
that you need to say no
yeah.
to? And a lot of people will say they want one thing and then they don't take those actions, and then they're upset and then they're bitter. So the same thing happens with a physique. I want to like look this way. And then to your point, they come home from, the trip or whatever.
They don't execute on what they need to.
Yeah. So you're constantly going to be upset, and you're going to be bouncing from thing to thing to thing. And then you're going to be bouncing from some extreme fucking TikTok shit that you saw. And
that other episode we did.
Our next episode, you'll see some fantastic things from TikTok. But that's where people get sucked into that kind of stuff, because they're not being realistic with the actions that they actually need to take. And that is the surest way to be never happy. Like the quickest way to not be happy is to constantly say that you want one thing
and then do the opposite.
Yeah, literally the opposite.
It's just a recipe for frustration and just continuing that cycle.
Yeah. And then there's other reasons why. So let's say you have started, some kind of a new plan. What would be some ways or some reasons why someone maybe wouldn't be responding, right? Like how many times do we have a client who we start a cut with and then, maybe they're not responding as they thought. So like what would be some of those reasons? Well,
some people are just more adaptive than others. So sometimes when we start, hi, we're here in the room. Just banging my head into the table to get my body to respond. Calm down. Anyway.
We love maintaining.
I love this for me. I'm not mad at all.
I'm like, is this going to be a therapy session or?
Totally. But some clients are more adaptive like that, where we might need to make more changes initially to get them out of that maintenance. Because what basically could be happening is that we haven't actually created a big enough deficit. We're just operating at the lower end of what their maintenance is. So we're not seeing any like immediate response, or we're not really getting any sort of like movement initially because of that. And they are just more adaptive to those changes. So some clients, we would just need to be more aggressive with that initial change to start off the dieting phase to actually get things up and moving again. So that could be one reason why we're, kind of facing a little bit of a stalling point initially.
That's a huge one. And I think especially if someone has been in a place where they have been in this kind of comfortable maintaining-ish spot, I anecdotally find that to get past that requires, I was literally just talking to someone earlier about this, kind of like a jolt, you know, and that's not a very scientific term, but
just electrocute.
Just actually we electrocute our clients is this new protocol. Oh my God, that'd be hilarious.
This new method.
If we should literally,
buzzwords.
We should literally make a video like that and be like, we have the method. We started this new method, guys. It's clients are
video.
Killing it. We actually are killing our clients.
Yeah.
Some people we've lost them, but
they signed waivers. It's fine.
Kind of this, like
just kickstart.
Yeah, it's kickstart, jolt, whatever energetic word you want to use. But I think that there are definitely times where you have to be more aggressive on the front end, because if you just drop a little bit, people think, I'm just going to drop a little bit. No, your body's going to go, okay, fuck you, I don't care. Because think about it. Even if you're so dialed in, there's just day-to-day variation that you might be a little bit higher, might be a little bit lower. So to really get past that next threshold, oftentimes people need to start more aggressive, right? And that's going back to that first point of like, hey, understand what this is, understand if you want to make changes for summer and you say you want to do this, like we got to go, we got to do it. I mean, if you don't, that's also fine, but like you have to be okay with whatever decision that is. The other thing too, I find that a lot of people, especially, the majority of clients that we have are working, kind of standard jobs that are behind computers. And a lot of people are just super sedentary, and, we're working with mostly female clients. If you are a average size female, whether you're overweight or normal weight, and you are working a sedentary job, I'm sorry, I really hate to break it to you, but you're not going to be able to eat like thousands of calories and lose weight, right? Like it's just kind of not the case. So could we be more aggressive with the diet? Sure. Yeah. Or could we incorporate more activity, more movement? One, from something like cardio or maybe classes, or even just going for walks and increasing neats. Neats. What did I say?
Neats.
Increasing your neats. Also check check the team page, Redefine Healthy Brands, if you want to see a whole, we posted a bunch of things on neat a few weeks ago. I thought my video was hilarious, but I don't know if anyone else did, but I did.
Just a little biased.
I'm a little biased. I thought it was great. So go fold your laundry. That's point number one. I know you have laundry in your room. But just, it's one of those things that I think a lot of people don't expect. And they're like, why am I not? And I'm like, you're literally walking 3,000 steps a day. Yeah. And you are.
And like their only source of movement is like their time at the gym, maybe, right? Okay, which doesn't really add up to much as a whole.
Gym for 45 minutes. You know what I mean? Like lifting weights. You're not burning, you're not Michael Phelps over here. Okay. Like it's just, there's just damn it. I
want to be Michael Phelps when I grow up.
Actually, no. I
probably don't.
As much as I multiple reasons, but I really don't like swimming that much. But swimming
I don't really keep up with swimming.
No, I just meant literally. Do you like? Oh, swimming?
The act of swimming.
Like
I thought you meant sports.
No,
go sports. I used to be on a swimming team when I was in middle school.
Oh, okay.
Or elementary school. No, okay. Elementary school.
Right.
Yeah, it was when I was a kid.
What? That's so, do they even have that?
It's so random.
That's so random.
They do.
Okay.
I think for some schools.
I guess I didn't get invited.
As far as swimming, we got access to the clubhouse, but we haven't actually gone in the pool.
Yeah. Is it like a lap pool though, or is it just like a fun pool?
I think it's where they have like the lanes.
Yeah. Okay, that's a lap pool. Okay.
Well, no, it's not a lap pool. I think it's just a standard public pool.
But it's long enough that you could actually do.
I think it's long enough to where you have enough room.
Okay. The pool at my community is like a fun pool. Like you're not going to swim there. It's
you could do a couple laps.
Yeah. Well, swimming aside, I really wouldn't want to eat that much food every day. It's so exhausting. I just can't do that shit anymore.
I want to in my brain, I was like, oh, I could be. No, I can't. Physically, no.
No, definitely not. But there, so those are two, I would say probably the two reasons. And then like, there's just other things in life, whether it's hormonal changes, life changes, stressors, new job, things that are happening in your family. Maybe, there's so many reasons why you could be responding differently. So it's another reason why you want to give yourself enough time. And that's not to say that if you're listening now, like it's too late. It's not too late. You can make changes, but you also can't, don't go into this thinking I'm going to lose 20 pounds in 4 weeks and, just like crash into, this,
oblivion.
Yeah. into the abyss, for this vacation, right? Because that's going to be
think
terrible.
about the after vacation too. Like how's that going to impact, the following months or the rest of the year for you too? How do you want to, follow through and feel afterwards?
Yeah, let's say, and 20 is extreme, but let's say we lost 15 pounds, right? And that's a lot, but it's doable, right? Say someone lost 15 pounds in a pretty quick time. It's definitely going to be some muscle loss, which is normal, unless outside of very small genetic pool of people and or people who are taking, exogenous hormones, you're probably going to lose some muscle when you diet, okay? You're going to lose more muscle the faster you diet. You're going to lose some water, okay? And then you're going to lose some fat. But after the trip or during the trip, right?
Yeah.
You're going to start gaining, and that's going to be probably fluid and fat. You're not probably gaining any muscle on your trip. And then when you come home, you're going to feel pretty bloated. You're going to feel pretty gross. And then you're either going to do one of two things. You're probably going to go even farther, right? Okay, well, I got to get this off.
Yeah.
Or you're just going to say, well, fuck this. Yeah. And then now you're going to rebound even more.
Then, feed into that poor response that you're already experiencing.
And if you gain the 20 pounds back, I promise you, it's not with as much muscle. It's just not.
It might be harder to get off too.
It's going to be harder the next time you try to get it off. So there's a lot of reasons why it would be better if you were to say, you know what, let me lose 5 this time. And maybe I do gain a little bit on the trip, but that will come back down and I won't be this like ravenous psycho going into this like all-inclusive resort, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or, go to a lake house for a week with my family and there's, snacks everywhere and all this stuff. So a lot of reasons why it'd be better to go slower, but you're not too late. Listen, if you're listening now, there's definitely still things you can make changes to. But there could be reasons why you're responding possibly a little bit slower. And then I know this is like so like, this seems like such like a silly point, but it's really not. Wearing clothes that fit you, guys.
Exclamation point.
Underline, highlight, italicize, like
bold
emojis, more lightning,
sparkles.
Okay, sparkles.
More lightning.
You're electrocuted currently. Literally, one of the biggest frustrations that clients have.
And like you said, it is kind of simple and like kind of. I mean, I feel like when I say it too, it sounds kind of stupid and obvious, but it's something that can be so helpful.
So helpful. Everybody has a different body type. Doesn't matter what you're to a certain degree, you can change your body, right? To other degrees, you can't. I'm never going to have a tiny waist and big hips. Not possible. Now I could add fat to my hips, you know what I mean? But that's not probably ideal either. But I'm just saying, like, I'm never going to have an hourglass shape. It's just not for my body. So, but what can I do? Okay, I can make sure that, my waist is not blown out. I can be a little bit tighter.
Yeah.
It's not going to go super in, but it can be a little bit more. And then, I can build my glutes. I can build my legs to create some shape. But I also have a very short torso. I have very long legs. And I'm kind of broad up top.
I haven't gotten rid of those ribs yet.
I haven't. It's on the list of, it's on the mounting list of plastic surgery to get. But honestly,
I just need you to take 2 ribs.
I probably have 2 extra ribs people could take. I think I
got
have
ribs for days.
I think I have extra ribs. I'm not even kidding. They're so fucking big. It's so unnecessary.
Why are you here?
What is this?
Who invited you?
I don't know why I have such a big rib cage, but it should be good for something. Someone who's smarter than me figure out why I have.
How is this good for evolution?
I don't know. But I'm broad up top. I have boobs. There's only, if I were to wear certain clothes, it doesn't matter. If I looked at myself and said I have the perfect physique for me, it's still going to look like trash, right? Like it's just not going to look good on me. There are certain cuts that are way more flattering, which is why that's what I wear. Yeah, and like. Are there times where like I take risks with shopping and different stuff? Yeah, of course.
But dabble in a little bit of color.
Yeah. I will. I've been on a color kick, guys. I went shopping this weekend, and it was one of those weekends that it's rare, but like everything was fitting.
Yeah,
of course. I'm like, of course. And now, oh, I just had this surgery, spent all this money, and now, great, not the rib removal. It was an actual medical surgery, not a fun surgery. No plastic surgery for me. That would have been way more fun. But no, so I was shopping and like everything was just fitting at Aritzia, and I have a really hard time finding slacks. Oh my God. I don't know why it is so fucking hard for me to find like nice pants, you know,
like,
like
are you
wear,
talking like wide leg or
just like to present in, and I could wear them.
I found some nice ones on Amazon actually.
Okay, well, we have a very different body type, but maybe.
But they work for me, and I think they had like tall versions too.
Okay, well that's good. But I really struggle because it'll be, if it fits my legs, then it's usually like huge in the waist, which is always a problem, of course. But I know I could wear a belt. But if it does kind of fit normally, I get this like bunching in like the front, because it just kind of like lays weird, and like sometimes pleats work, sometimes they don't. It's a whole nightmare. But anyways, everything I was finding was like fitting, you know. And I was like, oh, this is great. But it was because I was picking things that work on my body. As soon as I put on something, and I was literally, no, I came out and I was like, no. And I'm not mad at myself or my body for that.
Yeah, there's
you know
no
I mean?
place to like, there's no reason to place blame or like feel bad.
No.
When
bathing suits.
Same thing.
Guys, if you are buying a bathing suit that is too tight, it is going to like, oh, look at my, you know, whatever, muffin top, or look at my glute. Everybody is going to have that. You could have the most muscular, lowest body fat butt in the world. You know what I mean? And if you buy a suit that doesn't fit, it's not going to fit, you know? So like, maybe it's sizing up. Maybe it's getting a different cut. And I know that that's hard to sometimes like sit with, especially like a size. Like there's certain things about some sizes, you know? And obviously clients can hold on to things in like a negative way.
Like numbers. Yeah.
But I also understand it too. Like we all have a number on the scale that like, when we kind of go above it, we're like kind of hitting like, this is not comfortable, you know. And it's not even body comp related. It's just kind of like, I don't feel
it's just
good.
like, I don't feel great.
It's like heavy, and I just, you know. So I understand that, and especially if clients have lost weight before, and there's kind of like numbers that they associate with like old clothes, you know, like they don't want to go back to. So I get that like sizing up can sometimes be a little bit harder than just size up. But it's also, remember, when you're shopping, I can be anywhere literally from like a small to a large, right? I can be a 4 to an 8. It just depends on like what you're buying. So sometimes you have to just say, okay, let me just detach from this and what actually looks better. You know what I mean? Because maybe this is undersized. Maybe this is oversized. Maybe this is just a weird ass cut.
Honestly, like every place too, it just has different sizing.
So even at
like
the same
I could
store,
be a large in bottoms in one place and then like a medium or a small in another place. Like,
yeah. Like
it's just like all like just random numbers in my head at this point.
Yeah. So sometimes, but I get it, you know, sometimes there's like an association with the size, but you know, bring a few different sizes and be okay with whatever it says. And then just try different styles, because I find that a lot of people are just unhappy with how they look because of where clothes are like cutting them or fitting on them. And that is just something that, you know, we all want to like, hey, I want to look
I want to choose things that are flattering, but also if I feel like things are flattering on me, then I feel better in them, and they're comfortable for me to wear. And if I'm comfortable, then I'm not going to be looking at myself or picking myself apart and feeling like, you know, oh, like I feel bad about myself because this doesn't fit right. You know, you avoid all that trouble.
And it's not about hiding either, right? Like, for example, like I'm wearing like a bodysuit, and these are pretty popular like this season, right?
I wore one on Sunday when we went out to dinner.
They're like so great, right? I just love them.
Yeah.
But some of them be showing too much, you know, right? So this one is great. It's actually from First Form. It fits awesome. And it's very flattering. There's like a little detail here that kind of like brings the waist in, and it's black. So it just, you know, kind of smooths things out. And then there was another one recently from a different company that I tried, and it was super cute, but like, man, did it just like focus right on my stomach, like right at the bottom, just because of like just how it laid. And there was nothing wrong with that. Like it's not like, oh my God, I hate myself for looking like this. But I was like, I just know when I wear this that I'm just going to be like picking that apart. So I don't need to buy that. Like, it's okay. It's cute in these other areas, but like that one thing wasn't really for me.
Yeah, it just like makes it not worth it. And then it's like, hey, I'll find something else that I actually feel better in.
And then, okay, cool. Now it's same style, but just a little bit different, whether it's fabric, color, cut. So I know that sounds like kind of like a silly point to bring up, but I do find that a lot of clients struggle with shopping in general. So they'll either like not want to go do it, and they'll fit into stuff that like just doesn't fit them, or they're just like kind of wearing styles that maybe like don't fit for their body. And also, if you have gone through a big transformation, whether that is weight loss, or that is like you've built some muscle, like you're gonna look different and stuff.
Yeah, measurements are gonna change, and then it still warrants you finding something that you just feel a little bit better in, regardless of what way that's moving.
For sure. And then, you know, last but not least, like there is something to be said about, hey, even if you want to make changes to your body, which we are, again, super all for that, you know, no matter what, like loving yourself at any season really is important. I know that sounds so cheesy.
So cliche.
Just love yourself. But because I've seen people, and I've been there too, and I know that you have also, we've had a, you know, for all intents and purposes, a dream physique, or a physique that like we were even trying to strive for. And then we get there and then we still hate it, you know?
Yeah.
There's times, you know, of course I look back at like other things where, you know, during competing and stuff, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I look like this.
I literally have a photo that I kept it for this reason, because it was like, I think it was like fresh out of prep or something, but I remember that day that I took it, I was like over analyzing and being like, oh my God, like you look so bad. I'm like, you're literally like 2 weeks out from your last show, you dummy. Like, so that is like, it's just a reminder to me that like you're always gonna like be your own worst critic, especially when you're like at that like goals physique, or you feel like you're there, right? Like picking yourself apart is never gonna make that better.
No. So if you're going into it like with that intention, you know, and that's really where we want to do a lot of mindset work with clients, because it's like, yes, you can get the goal physique and be happy. You could also have the goal physique and be really, really unhappy with yourself. And then none of this matters anyway, because you're constantly going to be picking things apart. You're constantly going to be degrading yourself. I'm thinking literally of a specific post. Oh my gosh, I have to go find it. It was obviously years ago. And I just remember being like, oh, I overate. I'm so bloated and I can't believe I look like this. And I like literally like, bro, I gotta find it. It's
eye roll.
Like the heaviest eye roll. Now, did I look different than I did, you know, whatever, 2 weeks before that? Yeah, of course. You know what I mean? But it's just one of those things that we have to really recalibrate kind of our mindset around that, to be like, hey, I am having these external goals in terms of like, you know, my physique and how I want to feel. But I also need to remember that like I'm doing this out of a place of I care for myself. I want to feel better about myself. And I'm not doing this because
I want to feel better long term.
Yes. Not doing this out of hatred for my body, because guess what? You're going to get down to that goal physique that you stated, and that you could look like, what's the difference of these two pictures? They're the same.
Yeah.
Like, you know, here's goal physique that you said, and then here's you. You could literally look the same, but
and
have
then
that mindset.
Still have that sense of like, oh, I'm still not happy.
Yeah. I'm still a failure. I still don't look how I want to, and I need to do more. And I've just seen it time and time again. And like I said, we've experienced it as well. So we know exactly how that feels. And we don't want you to feel like that. So definitely make some changes for summer if you want to. Be realistic with it. Understand what you're getting into, what you're actually willing to do. But then also, love yourself regardless of the body type and where you're at right now. And then, go buy some damn clothes. Here's your cue to go shopping. I'm giving you permission to go shopping.
Lauren said it was okay.
I said it was okay to go shopping. Look, I just told you before we got on here, I found some great stuff at TJ Maxx, which I haven't been to in years. So I don't know if I've just been missing out. I don't know if it was just a good day, if it was just like my week, I don't know. Like it was unfortunately and unfortunately a shopping week
at TJ Maxx.
Yeah. Surgery recovery was me just walking around stores and buying clothes. But I found this like great 2-piece set, like a little like top and like a skirt, like a summertime thing, $20. I'm like, hello, even if this fits half okay, I'm gonna wear it. But it was great. So go to TJ Maxx, get you some
not sponsored.
Definitely not sponsored. Go get some new clothes. Or Ritzy if you guys have those, because Ritzy is always the tits. So if you guys are listening and you are interested in having some guidance through this, and maybe you have gone through some summer diets and you've maybe crash dieted and you don't want to go through that approach again, we are taking on clients. So reach out, send us a message, get on a call with us. You can visit redefinehealthybrands.com, or you can go to either of our Instagram pages or the team Instagram and send a message through there, and we will get back to you guys. So thank you as always for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.